Hey. Welcome everyone to Talking with the Bostons. I'm Keedron.
And I'm Katura, and we are the Bostons.
That's right. You already know. Listen, thank y'all so much for joining us. Thank you for your patience. So
Oh,
glad
yeah.
y'all are on here today. Today has been a
It's been an amazing
it's been an
day,
amazing day.
but very busy.
Very busy.
Very busy, very productive.
Yeah. For sure. It's been one of those days. I'm grateful for it though. Like I think we had a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff happening
Today
today.
felt good.
Yeah.
Today definitely felt good. So
Most definitely. Church was outstanding.
outstanding.
Had a good night's rest.
Yes, we
Like think
did.
about that.
We
Yeah.
drove back in from our family reunion on Saturday.
Yes.
They were still going strong this week, and we needed to get back. But it was nice to sleep in our beds, get a good night's sleep, and be prepared to serve kids and students and families
Yeah.
this morning. And then we got to go to a baby shower for one of
That's
our
right.
a couple of our really, really good friends and
Yeah.
just kind of love on them and spend some time and then drive an hour back into town,
For sure.
right? To be here with you all. And all of it was worth it.
All of it was worth it.
All of it was worth it.
Yeah.
So thank you. Welcome to or welcome back to
Mhm.
Talking with the Bostons.
That's right.
Excuse my eyeballs. I just did something really, really crazy because I was looking at the screen, the light, and the lens. And so like I was buffering when you saw that just now. But wanted to welcome you to or back to Talking with the Bostons. This is episode, what is it, four? This is episode 4. And we have been sharing about our marriage story, some of the journey. And so we started with high school up until prom and getting ready to head into college and things like that. And clearly we're still very happily married. So we decided to turn this into a part 2. Listen, last week we said we were coming with receipts, aka photos. So we did that again, and we're just going to narrate them and just kind of share some of our journey and some life lessons that we've learned along the way. And the secret sauce, which is not going to be a secret after this, but we're going to tell you our secret sauce so you can sprinkle it in whatever you're working on. And if it blesses you, amazing. We hope that you'll like and share. Talk to us in the comments because that's always fun. We had a lot of conversation in the comments. Y'all were coming for some of our old school photos, but it was fun. It was so fun. Things we forgot about, but I mean, listen, it's been 24 years.
Right, we put it out there.
We did, and we're good with it.
That's the beautiful part.
We have 4 kids. We're used to being teased and judged every now and again.
For sure.
Cheers.
So make sure y'all put, you put comments and questions in the section where that is, and at the end, we'll kind of address some of those.
Yeah, we want to talk to you. And as we see you come in, we'll give you a little shout out, but pardon us if we're still going because we're narrating, right? We're telling a story here.
No doubt.
So yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so let's check this
Where
out.
do you want to start?
So let's start with, we thinking about high school, prom, was dope. After prom, of course, the next thing you look forward to as a senior in high school is graduation, right? Yeah. Graduation, getting through that, because you're focused all year on,
trying to get done,
trying to get out of there,
trying to get out of there.
You know what I mean? And so, after graduation for us, I'm off to college. Right away, it's college time for both of us. But I went away for college. I went to Texas A&M University. You already know, gig 'em, baby. I don't want to be too crazy. I started to, but anyway.
You know me. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So let's just talk about, before we get to, the wedding and all stuff like that. We got pictures that we want to show, but what was that like for you? Me having to leave, because before I remember in summer I went to North Carolina to go stay with my Aunt Mickey for the summer because I wanted to go to school. Originally, I wanted to go to Duke University. I wanted to go there. You know what I mean? And so I applied. I don't remember if I even finished trying to pursue that. But the plan was to go and stay with my aunt in Carolina for a little while to kind of get that in-state tuition. Well, I don't know if that was going to really work, but
but you had to give it a shot. We're just out here trying to make it.
We're going to, try to make that happen. But anyway, I still ended up going to North Carolina that summer just because I still wanted to go hang out with my aunt, my uncle.
Yeah.
But I already knew. Yeah, they are outstanding. Shout out to Amy Holder and Uncle Robert. But I knew I was already going to go to Texas A&M, so I was away.
I think you did.
Yeah, I was already
away for most of the summer, like a month and a half or something like
that. Yeah, I was headed already out to A&M to join the Corps Cadets. That was a dope time. But how did that feel for you? As far as what was your perspective after graduation? Let me just ask you that.
Well, let's start here. For those of you who missed the part 1, and definitely go back on YouTube and check out that episode as well. But during the time that we met, it was really a tumultuous time in my life. Like, it was just so much going on in my life. It was a handful. I was very grateful to have met the love of my life there, and I didn't know that he would be my love forever. But it turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. So when I knew that he was leaving, there was actually 2 sides of it. I wanted him to go to A&M. I was excited for him. I celebrated him. I was excited for him. And I was excited for what that meant for his future, because I thought the world of him. I thought he was a genius. I mean, he had like 105 in calculus, like senior year.
No, Lord.
It was ridiculous. I mean, he was just an excellent student. I was an A student too, but he was just on another level. And I just was so proud of him. I just thought he was just the coolest. Like, smart was the cool for me. And he was smart. He was respectful. He loved the Lord. So I was excited about this new journey. But I also understood that it could have potentially meant the end of the relationship that we were really beginning. And it was like a whirlwind kind of like adventure, and like, wow, my first true love, But I think there was something about our relationship that left me with some assurances that, if it's gonna work with anybody, long distance, it's gonna be Kedron.
Yeah, and I think we worked on that too. Like, it was both ends, because I felt the same way, and I was already in love with you. You know what I mean?
So you be still in love with me? Oh, it's so sweet.
Yeah. And so I remember even talking with you on the phone while I was in North Carolina.
Oh yeah, using calling cards. Do y'all remember?
I don't even think they know about it.
Some of y'all know about
calling cards.
But you just couldn't call long distance from that local house number.
Yeah.
And so we were buying calling cards. Like, we were literally using whatever change we could get and find to buy like those $5, $10, $15 calling cards, so we could get like so many minutes. And I remember at one point, and some of y'all, somebody has a drawer with an old school calling card in that says like 200 minutes for $5 or something that. We spent the summer on these calling cards talking to each other. Yeah.
So we were intentional about that. Like, I knew I wanted to do the long distance thing. I didn't want to break up with you. Like, I was in love with you. So we made it work. You know what I mean? We did what we
fell in love with me.
Yeah.
Hey,
girl.
Messed around and fell in love with me. I fell in love too. We talked about this. I asked him the other day, and I said, Kedron, like, what made you fall in love with me? Like, how could you have been so young? Because when he went away to college, I was already 18. I turned 18 in April, and we graduated in May. And he wasn't slated to turn 18 until August, the end of August. Look, I'm doing the best I can.
I got you. Good.
He wasn't going to turn 18 until August, and we were like dropping him off at like the end of July, first week of August. So he was 17 years old.
Yeah.
And he had fallen in love with me before that, and I'd fallen in love with him. But I felt grown, and I was like, but how did you fall in love with me?
Just a few months.
Look,
fellas.
I did not think I was grown. But I just thought about this, like, man, you really fell in love with me. Thank you.
Oh, Lord.
So
no,
nice.
But it was real and it was good,
So clearly.
We definitely made it work. So now we're in this long distance relationship. Actually within the first year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Within the first year, I'm away at school. I was in the Corps Cadet, so it's an ROTC program.
Yes.
in college in Texas A&M.
And that
so
schedule was crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, every day, at least Monday through Friday, like I'm wearing uniforms, to class, and we're doing PT every day.
Called me a cougar.
She is a cougar.
Listen.
But so I'm having this, somewhat of a rigorous schedule as a freshman in college, right? So I'm having school, but then I'm also doing the military ROTC thing on another level because, my Aggie buddies, for everyone that's, in the Corps Cadets at Texas A&M, they already know it. If you know anything about it, like it's for real, it's a lifestyle.
It is.
And I loved it. The freshman year was crazy. You know what I mean? But I made it through. I made it through freshman year.
You did. And you had one of the highest GPAs of your class.
Yeah, of my unit. My unit. Yeah. So just that, it was something that they just made note of.
I'm your hype girl.
But at the same
time, smartest one in the court.
But no, but for real though, like I wanted to speak to something because that first semester, really that first year, I didn't have anybody to help me with my schedule. This may have to just be a whole nother conversation, but I didn't have anybody to help me.
College.
Yeah, like, as far as a college counselor at the time. Yes, we had
advisors,
and there was this one gentleman, Sergeant Major Hastings, man, like he was dope. Like he was there for a lot of young black men. And I was a recipient of his insight and help and just guidance during that time. So
you definitely paid it forward.
Yeah, and it was just a blessing to have someone like him before he transitioned, because he wasn't there my whole first year. I think he ended up doing something different. But anyway, my first year, I took my first semester, I want to say I had like 8 classes, y'all.
Yes.
And it was like it equaled to like 12 hours or so. It was ridiculous. I got to look at the transcript.
Some of those first year student classes that aren't really worth a credit.
But I chose nobody to help me.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what I was doing. Like if you went to college, you already know. Like if you have 7 classes, that's going to be at least 21 hours. Right.
That was full.
For mine, it wasn't, because I was taking 1-hour classes. I was taking, so I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just wanted to speak to that. Yeah, my GPA, it was good, but also I didn't have the guidance to say, hey, this is what you need to take. Man, you got 5-6 classes.
Right.
You're only adding up to 14, 15 hours.
Yeah.
That ain't the way to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm still having to grind in all those classes.
Right.
So it was crazy. But anyway,
that's a great point.
Yeah,
because I think it also impacted and influenced. It influenced the way we dealt with our kids going into college, because some of you who know us know that we have a 24-year-old and an almost 21-year-old. They're both in college. And so when they began the process of like getting into school and things like that, we had a different level of insight to support them and help them to navigate. But it was really Keegan who was like, I know what you need to say. I know where we need to go, because there was just so much that he encountered as a young man. And what he didn't want to see was Aaron go through that, starting out. He was like, nah, son, I'm going with you, and we're gonna make sure you get the right classes, the things you need. Like even periodically, even as Aaron has changed his major, he'll sit him down, son, come to the house, bring your laptop, bring your notes, bring your advisor. Let's talk about this. Let's do the math. Let's calculate, what does this cost? How much time is this going to take for you to make these different decisions? And then you make your decision based on that. Or this is what you can this is what you can predict or project, your time being in this specific course or major that you're looking into. Yeah. So I feel like some of that struggle for you, I know they say it's not always for you. Sometimes it was for you. Right. It taught you some things in that season of your life that you needed to know just for you. It was not about Aaron at the time. Yeah. But Aaron did get the benefit.
For sure. Especially because when I look back at my transcript, that's when I realized, I'm like, what in the world was I taking on? Who let me do this? But anyway.
Been there.
Yeah, for sure.
They will take your money and let you go ahead and get whatever you want on that schedule, pass or fail, they're getting paid. And that's what we found out. And it's not that it was, I think, intentional, but just as a system. If you don't have support and you don't connect with, those advisors who really are, have an interest in really helping, you be successful you will run into things like that. And later on down the line, he did. Oh, it was a humongous school, humongous campus.
Yeah.
And later on down the line, he did end up connecting with someone who would become that person in his life. But it was a little bit down the road before they crossed paths and things kind of shifted for the better for you.
Yeah. Sure. So we're going to school, and at that time you were at what school were you at that time?
I was at St. Phillips.
Were you at St. Phillips at that time?
I was at St. Phillips. If you're in San Antonio, that area, you know about St. Phillips, Palo Alto, Northwest Vista, and the SAC MDA, San Antonio Colleges of Medical and Dental Assistants. You know about that whole cluster of what do they call them? The
Alamo Community Colleges.
Yeah, the Alamo Community Colleges. Yeah. So that's where I ended up starting. I did apply for Texas A&M where he was, and I did get accepted, but it wasn't as feasible for me at the time to like move in and try to go there and do the same thing that he was doing, because obviously I had Aaron, and so I needed a lifestyle that was a little bit more flexible. Staying home, going to community college afforded me the opportunity to take Aaron to college with me, because there was an on-site preschool there, and what was more like a daycare kind of preschool. He was still kind of young. He was like 2 or 3 years old by that time, but he was able to go with me, and I could check on him in between all my classes. He was right on the property. Yeah. And so that was kind of cool. But still tough times, but we made it work.
Yeah.
When I think about it now, I'm like, man, I was really like getting on 2 buses with him every day, going home on 2 buses. And trying to focus on my studies and reading and taking notes on the bus while he's sitting next to me eating pretzels and cookies and stuff like that, while I'm trying to do half of my homework on the bus before we got home.
Definitely grind. 18 years old.
18 years old, yeah.
Working to go, going to school.
Yeah.
Taking care of,
We both got jobs that year too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we both got jobs. I was working at Office Depot first, and then a Christian bookstore, and then you were working at.
I was working at the mess hall. When I was in the Corps of Cadets, of course, I was working for Duncan Dining Hall.
On, Duncan Dining.
Yeah, I was back there.
No donuts.
That was a good time.
Good time.
Yeah, good serving the young
people.
ROTC. Soldiers. Yes. That was cool. Yeah. So I worked at Duncan Dining Hall. But yeah, so we're going to school, working, doing our best to maintain our relationship.
Yes.
Back then, of course, we didn't have I didn't have no cell phone. No, we were talking to, when I could, through my dorm phone. And, as a student, a ROTC student, we only had certain times to do
and
that.
It was the same for me. I was losing like 3 hours of my life daily just on a bus, via bus, transporting and commuting. Yeah. But some kind of way in the evenings, that was our time.
Yeah. Sometimes you'd be at a payphone.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how many days Aaron and I, there was like this little dollar store. And it was a pay phone outside. There was a Payless, like this little small grocery store, and then a dollar store. And so I would use a calling card to call him from the pay phone. And I would use, usually I would take like $1 and get him like one of them dollar store toys or packages of toys and sit him in a stroller, even though he's big enough to walk, but I would sit him there because I knew I was going to be on the phone for a little while. So I had him in a stroller and he'd be playing with his toys, and he and I would be on the phone catching up and all that stuff. And I would be heading home before it got completely dark because he never wanted me outside, at the payphone in the dark with the baby. So that's pretty much how we did that the first, first couple of years. And then once we had Symphony, right? Yeah. And Symphony was born premature. Symphony was born 1 pound, 6 ounces. And I think at that time we were probably in high school, in college, maybe about a year.
Yeah, it was 2000.
Because her and Aaron are only about 3 years apart. Yeah.
We graduated 2001. Symphony was born 2002.
Yep. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that summer,
just a little over a year, she was born in August, and she was not due. Here's the thing. She was not due until I think December, like toward the end of December. And she was born 5 days after Keejan's birthday on the 29th. Same birthday as Michael Jackson, we understand. So that was that season.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
No, that's after
that started a whole nother chapter.
That's after we finished our freshman year.
Yeah.
And so actually, when did I propose? I proposed to you it had to be 2001.
It was. You proposed to me.
It was in the fall during a break, during one of our breaks.
Yeah.
Me coming back because I remember taking you to
we
the movies, went out to dinner. I don't know if it was Red Lobster.
We went to Red Lobster.
So
Red Lobster used to be on and popping. I don't know
Maybe
we haven't been there in a while, but that was on and popping. That was like today's Pt.2 or wherever Capital Grill where you can get great seafood or something like that. That was like the top.
Yeah, definitely.
He saved up for this day is what I'm saying. You understand? We had movies, snacks in the movies and dinner.
I had a little scholarship money. You know what I mean? Had a little scholarship money.
You sure did. Tell you how smart you
working
was.
A little bit and then had scholarship money put back to the side. But yeah, Red Lobster. And I remember I got a ring. And and
this one right here,
and proposed to her.
Got a new one
that night. Aaron, Aaron was with us. Aaron used to go to everywhere we went. Everywhere we went. He was rocking with us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So he was there that night. But so I proposed to her in the fall of 2001. 2002, of course, finished our freshman year.
Yep.
Came home for the summer, back to San Antonio.
Yeah.
And then
we threw you a birthday party.
Yeah.
He was back for the weekend, and we threw him a birthday party, and I went all out.
You did, man. You know what?
House.
Yeah. No, go ahead. No,
because I was pregnant. I was about 6 months pregnant, but I went all out. I made hors d'oeuvres, and I bought all the groceries. Brought everything to his parents' house, and we just had a time. It was such a good day. His whole family was there, and his friend, one of his really great childhood friends, Dario. They were there
for sure.
And we had a good day. It was just a long day. And that night we went out. We went to the movies and all that stuff after the party. That was kind of like our after party. And that's typically what we did. We would go to the arcade and go to the movie theater at the Quarry.
At the Quarry, that was an arcade back then around that time.
Yeah, we used to play shooting games and stuff, and he would protect me. But I had his back too. I was trying to show him, like, I'm wifey material. I got you. I got your sis.
Listen.
And so we did that. We did that pretty frequently. But that night, that's when I went into. No, it wasn't exactly the night of his birthday because we had the party like on the 28th because I think that was like the weekend.
Yeah.
So he was at school during his birthday, but he came back home. And that weekend, that's when we celebrated him. And that was on the 28th. By that evening, when he was bringing me back home, like I was having labor pains. And it was like, we knew it was too early because I was only about 6 months pregnant. I think I was 26 weeks. Zoe was only 26 weeks gestation.
Yeah.
They gave me everything they could. And some of the women on here might know what I'm talking about. The different medications that they try to give you to, postpone your labor and all of that stuff. And Symphony was like, it is time.
Man,
it is time. And so it was super scary because we knew how early she was being born. And with all the medication, like I was getting drowsier and drowsier. They were having conversations with us. Now, at this point, mind you, we're 19 now. We're 19 now. He just turned 19. I'm already 19. And at the time, my mom was not there. So they're talking to us. And they're asking me to sign stuff because basically it just was not looking good for Symphony's survival. And asking me to sign things while I was like just inebriated, right, with medication and whatever pharmaceuticals they were giving me to try to, I guess, stop the labor, but also knowing that they were probably going to have to give me a C-section and deliver her that way.
Yeah.
And so I was being prepped for like this really big medical procedure, and I had already had one before, but this time it was like an extreme emergency. So we have her, Symphony and she's flown in a helicopter to another hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm in one hospital. And I tell him, I'm like, well, go catch up to Symphony. Man, you gotta go catch up to the baby.
Mercy,
And she was in the NICU. Fast forward past that, I remember calling a prayer hotline that came on. My TV was on in my medical room. And I remember calling And I think the woman on the phone could tell I was a little girl because by the way she talked to me, but she was so sweet. And I told her the situation. And I said, I'm by myself right now. And I was telling her the story. And I was like, I'm just asking for prayer. I believe in God. I know that he answers prayer. I believe that he does. I'm living in sin. And, I just need somebody else to help me pray. And so she prayed with me and reassured me that everything was going to be okay. And that night, I got off the phone, off this hotline, and oh my gosh, off this hotline and went to sleep, had a peaceful night, and started calling the NICU nurses, every day that I had to still stay in the hospital because after a C-section, you typically have to stay 3 to 4 days. I heal very quickly by the grace of God. And so by the third day, I was ready to go and they were ready to let me go. And Kedra came back to get me and took me home. Back to his house with his parents. And then we had to, start the plans for visitation for Symphony to see how she was doing. And she's hooked up to all these different wires and things like that.
She was so little.
She was so little, so tiny. She weighed 1 pound, 6 ounces. Now, guys, I did show you this hand for a reason. This was the very first engagement ring that Kedron bought for me. Now, you're not going to see this real good. I'm going to try to do like the YouTube influencers do. Y'all don't laugh at me. See how small that is? Okay. I don't have really large hands or large fingers, right? Very small, very small.
It was little, yeah.
When we went into the hospital and met Symphony at the NICU, I was able to put her little hand and her fist through the loop of this ring.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it to where y'all can see it. My shirt is black.
Yeah, it was
so small that we were able to put her whole entire hand and have it on her wrist like a bracelet.
Right.
That's how small she was. 1 pound, 6 ounces.
Yeah, it was,
And it was so traumatic.
Yeah, I remember seeing her. Because while you were in surgery, they brought her out and they had her in the incubator, nice little glass case, and they were in the hallway and the doctor came in and I'm 19 years old at the time, I just turned 19, right? I always say Symphony was my birthday present. She was supposed to be a Christmas gift, but she ended up being a birthday present, which is all right. And I remember the doctor coming to me and saying, hey, she has a of course they go in and they talk to you, want to try to comfort you, but also get straight to what they want to share. And he said, your daughter has, he said, mom is good, mom is fine, but your daughter has a 50-50 chance of surviving, making it right. And I remember looking in there and seeing her, and she didn't have any eyelashes. She was like, no pigmentation. Yeah. She was pretty much like transparent. You know what I mean? Like no fingernail. I mean, I looked at every part of her that I could. You know what I mean? I wanted to see my baby. I was looking at my baby. No eyelashes, no anything. She was not fully developed.
Yeah, you could see through her little skin. Her little veins.
Yeah, it was. Man, I don't think anything has ever gripped my heart as much as that did. Those moments did. But I always knew, even in that moment, we already had a name for her. Yeah. I don't think we had a middle name yet.
Because when we got there, they had BG, and that was just baby girl Campbell, and she had my maiden name at the time because we were not married.
Right.
And so I remember her card saying BG Campbell, and I was like, "Who is BG? Like what? That's not the right name."
My baby name.
And so when we got there, we were able to change the card and tell, have it on there so they could call her by her name. Yeah. But that was that perspective for him, because now I'm knocked out. Like I have had to be put under by an anesthesiologist. And I remember that man was so sweet. He called me querida, and just means like precious or, sweetie. And he was counting. He was like, "It's okay, querida." And he said, "Count from 10. And I remember saying 10, 9, And when I woke back up, I was in a cold room with covers on me, shivering, because, you know, when you go through that, when your body goes through that, your temperature, your blood pressure, everything is out of whack, because when you lose a lot of blood, all your insides have been taken outside, sat in a bowl temporarily while they get the baby out and they stitch you up and they start putting your stuff back in. There's just a lot that goes into that. And pardon if this is a trigger. I did not give a trigger warning. I'm so sorry about that. Look, I'm kind of new to telling this story publicly, but you know, there's a lot that goes on with your body when that happens. So I remember they had a lot of blankets on me and socks on my feet and all that, but I was just shivering. I was cold, and it was like the scariest feeling. And it was one of those things where I was like, God, if I've never, ever believed you for a miracle before, like, I believe you for a miracle now. Like, this baby has to be okay. And I remember feeling like a sense of peace, like, God, you let her be born. As a matter of fact, I didn't have that after. I had it before. I said, God, if you let her be born, you are going to let her live. I just felt that. And I can't say the Holy Spirit told me. Maybe it was the Holy Spirit, but I'm real careful when I use that kind of language.
Yeah, that's real.
But I felt that. Like, if he lets her live, he's going to keep her. And he absolutely did. And it's just, it reminds me, like Pastor was preaching a message today. Wake up and remember that you're a son. And she was talking about the prodigal son and his brother. And just being reminded that even in your mess, even in your sin or your darkest place, that son always belonged to his father.
Right, no matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
His behavior wasn't right. It wasn't appropriate. It was out of the will. And literally he wanted to be out of the will. He just wanted his stuff and be gone. Even when he thought that's what he wanted, even though he thought he wanted to be out of the presence of his father, he was still a son. And I'm just reminded in hearing my pastor preach on that today, like, I was always a daughter, because I remember telling the lady on the prayer line, like, I'm living in sin, you know, we grew up old school, like, that's fornicating, that's shack and all this stuff. And they weren't wrong, but that's where I was. I was like, let me just go ahead and repent and confess and let her know, because I really need God to hear this prayer. And I understood the power of agreement. And that's the only reason why I called, because I knew I could have prayed alone. But anyway, that's where we were. It was a very interesting and scary time. And when we look back on it, we're like, man, there's no way we got through that without God.
For real.
You know, and him helping us be there for each other. Because again, like I said, we were 19 at this point. So there was just a lot. And then if we were to just fast forward a little, do we want to show them some stuff?
Yeah, for sure.
It's y'all ready for some receipts? Because he done dug up some stuff for us.
So we're gonna,
y'all doing okay? Talk to us in the comments.
For sure.
Talk to us in the comments. Here. Let us know who's here.
We're gonna get into it. So we're gonna jump straight to this right here.
I'm excited for this.
All right. So this was us at the altar.
At the altar. I met him at the altar in my white dress.
Listen, that's right. Yeah. Baby, let's get married. Hey. Listen, so we were here. My father actually was our officiant, Pastor Mackey. Love you, man. And so we were there, as you can see me standing before my beautiful bride. Tori looked so beautiful in that dress, beautiful dress.
I thought you looked so handsome. I was like, look at him. I thought you looked fine during prom.
Listen.
But when I saw you in that
this is a different type of anointing that was on. Actually, that wasn't even anointing at prom.
That marital anointing.
That's different.
It was. Let me tell you something else. A marriage license is not just a piece of paper.
Man, come on now. You better say.
Because you can sign a contract and break a contract. What we did at this altar, what you're looking at, that's called covenant.
That's a covenant.
That's a covenant.
Yeah, before God.
Before
man. And
that's right.
One of the best decisions,
right?
Of my life.
That's right.
This is this day I say I actually gave my life to the Lord. Like, I started living right.
I say that too.
Thank God for His mercy and His grace. But yeah, July 20th, 2007. That was this day. We were right at the DoubleTree in San Antonio, off of 410, right across the highway from the River Center Mall. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. North Star Mall.
Yeah, with
right
the big boot.
Yep. So if you ever been to San Antonio, if you ever go, you see a huge boot outside of North Star Mall. You know, there's a hotel, DoubleTree, that we were in. You know, and so it was. And that
wonderful. Was a ballroom. It was beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Let's see what the next picture is. Let's see. All right, so this is us sitting at our table. Yes. And do you remember the lady's name that the wedding
the coordinator?
I forget her name, but she did a great great job. It sounds familiar.
I feel like her name was Irma.
Yeah, she did an outstanding job. It was beautiful.
It was seamless.
So beautiful. Yeah.
Like working with her was seamless. Like we did, and look, we did not know how to go like the side routes and call and network and find all these different people. My great grandfather wanted to pay for our wedding, and he passed in February before our wedding. And so my aunt, his daughter, my great aunt Shirley, came and she was like, your grandpa wanted you to have the best wedding. And so when we found this venue and she had this whole package and hookup, you know how they do. I mean, she led us to the cake. We did a cake tasting. We did a menu tasting for the dinner. And she picked the colors and set up how we wanted the room. And so what you're looking at right now was us listening to members of our wedding party and family members talking about us, you know, and just saying lovely things.
For sure, yeah.
And just saying lovely things about us. We have some more pictures, but we'll show you what and who our bridal and groom's party was.
Yeah, for sure. What's next? All right, so here's some more pictures of family that came through. Can you talk about who showed up?
This meant so much. Guys, I'm not from Texas. I am from Brooklyn, New York. My Jamaican family and some of my dad's side. So Jamaican and Caribbean on my mom's side, and you know, different American and different Black American on my dad's side, but they all lived in New York. My family is literally like from New York. So the top picture, the lady in red is my Aunt Henrietta. That's one of my dad's sisters. And then my dad is on the end in the white suit with the blue bow tie and the cummerbund. In front of him is his older sister, Gail. Both of his sisters, I think, are older than him. But they flew together from New York. And so did my dad to be a part of our wedding. And so that just meant everything to me because I hadn't seen them in years. I hadn't seen or talked to my dad in a really long time either. And this was a season where, you know, I had reached out to him a lot more. And so leading up to my wedding, I asked him if he would walk me down the aisle. And it was just lovely. And so the lovely woman in lavender silverish dress, that is my mom. That's my mommy.
That's precious.
And I had on my flat ballet shoes. I did not have on heels in these photos. So I'm like the little shorty pants in all of these pictures, but I was so comfortable and just had a blast. I was able to talk to everyone and like go greet everybody without my feet hurt. And it was so nice. Yeah. The lower bottom pictures you can see are my parents again. My mom, my dad, and then the other picture, the lady in orange and the head wrap, that is my Aunt Dolores. That's also one of my great aunts. So my mom's aunt first, and then my aunt second. She flew from New York and she brought with her the kente cloth that you see Keedron wearing over his shoulder. I don't know. Was that your right shoulder? I think it was.
Yeah, we switched though. Yeah. So,
it was like your left or your right shoulder. But during before our ceremony, she draped it. Or sometime during the ceremony, because they did everything. They brought a broom
we
for us to
broom.
jump. We jumped the broom. She brought and presented the kente cloth, and she did a presentation to explain to the room about the traditions and, you know, our African culture and some rites of passage that she remembers in our Caribbean and Jamaican family doing down the line. And so she she had a whole script and read that and presented it during our wedding. So that was really special, you know, that these women, these very strong, amazing women like in my life flew across the country to be at our wedding. Yeah.
So wonderful. Great time. What else we got? Let me see. All right. So here's another. Yeah.
So the top corner, lady in silver, that's my mommy again, her pretty self. And then her mom is in the red. So my grandmother, that's me giving her a kiss on the cheek. Let me tell you, nobody did a red lip ever in the history of red lipping like my grandmother. Like, always had a red lip. She'd never been on a plane before, and she was actually using oxygen at the time. So she brought her oxygen with her all the way to Texas on a flight, first time on a plane. She did that to come see our wedding, to come be a part and celebrate us. And so the bottom two pictures are the same woman, just she has her head wrapped and then unwrapped. That is my Aunt Shirley. That is the one who she had moved from New York to Texas, so she was already living kind of locally, and helped us take care of the wedding venue according to my great grandfather, her father's wishes. That's my great Aunt Shirley. So very, very special. That meant so much to me.
Yeah. Love it.
And my mom and I picked out the dress together. She bought my dress, my wedding dress. We literally, like, do y'all remember like David's Bridal? If you're from the San Antonio, well, some of y'all know that up here, but she and I went to David's Bridal, and I was like, a real wedding dress store? Like, I didn't even know what to do. And it was perfect. It was like the first dress I found. It was the last one. It fit me perfectly. And she was like, let's get it. Let's get everything that goes with it. Your crown, your veil, the thing that goes under it, like all that stuff is super expensive too. She was like, tell him I'll get everything that goes with it. Gorgeous. I want her to have everything she wants.
Looking gorgeous. Looking gorgeous.
It was so special.
For sure. All right. So you got your bridesmaids.
Yes. There's my sister, Shelly.
Yeah. So Shelly, and I'll let you, talk too, because this is your baby, right?
Yeah, that's my baby sister. Well,
yeah, my baby sister Shelly. She's our baby sister.
That's right? His bio baby sister, but she's not.
The one on the right, in the
shorter
one. The dresses are the same. They're all the same color. Yes. I think it's just
Tiandra and Shelly had on the same dress. Yeah. We went to the same place.
For sure. And these pictures are 16 years old. They've been in the wedding, but that's my little baby sister Shelly. Love you so much.
Yeah.
Carissa Bell. She's actually on here. So she was one of your beautiful bridesmaids. It was good to have her.
She was so sweet
there.
Thank you, my sweet love.
Yeah. Thank you, Shelly. Shout out to you.
And when she got married, I stood in her wedding too.
That's so true. Yeah, lovely. And then next, now this is our total wedding.
Yeah,
party,
that was our group. Yeah.
So we had my sister Carice and Couture's friend Tiandra, and then to my right, right next to me, that's my guy, my brother Dariel, and then my younger brother Edwin.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. They look so good. Look at the smiles, bright smiles. My younger brother Edwin on the right. On the far left, right. Today is actually his birthday. And so I'm not sure if, some of you may know that my brother passed away in December 28, 2021. And so as I was looking at these pictures and just reminded of my brother and how he was with me, still by my side as my best man in my wedding. And so he's standing there right there with us with the bright smile. Love you, King. Dariel, thank you, bro, for being there as well. So this is our beautiful wedding party. It was nice. It was small, but it was perfect, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was perfect.
Yeah. Now this picture kind of I had to put this in there. It was
man, this
jumping up in there.
Y'all remember them old school disposable cameras?
Listen,
this is a product of one of those, but that was literally symphony. Like
this was actually fresh out of
the
NICU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was her. So of course she had gained some weight.
Tiny baby.
She was sitting there looking all peaceful and stuff like that. So
in her daddy's arms, which is still the safest place.
You already know.
She loves to be. Such a good dad.
Our baby's gonna be 21.
Oh my goodness.
Next month, and so
that's 50-50 chance right there. And
God
said 100%.
God said 100% all day.
That's why you got to take him at his word.
For sure, yeah.
That's why. You gotta take him.
Now this was that party that you were talking about.
Man, we was turned up.
My birthday party. The
month that's
I know. The month that Symphony was born.
Yes.
Couture threw a birthday party for me. I
went into labor at midnight after that.
Man, that's just wow. Wow, yeah. This was a few because this probably wasn't on my birthday. Because actually, no, you were with me. I took you home this night. Yeah, and I had to go back. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then you had to. I called him. I was like, I think I'm going into labor. This is crazy.
I wasn't even.
He wasn't even all the way back home yet.
Yeah.
And he turned around, and I was like, I think I need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I was already nervous, so I didn't want to call the ambulance, but I just called him. And by then we had cell phones because we didn't have cell phones at the beginning. But by then I was on a house phone and called his cell phone.
For sure.
And he turned around and came back. And this was the day. This was his birthday celebration, but not his actual birthday.
Right.
This was on the 28th, I believe. And then by midnight, I was going into labor.
Yeah. But you can see the party. I mean, it was good. We had some fun. I thought we had some more pictures up there.
Yeah.
Of some food and things like that. But I had to post another picture of my brother, my best man, Edwin Rendell Boston.
So handsome.
Yeah. Rest in peace, my brother. But this picture right here, bless me. Look at him. He, risen up right here, low key.
Man, he was like, you just never know.
You just never know.
He said, where the single ladies? When y'all gonna play that?
Listen,
so I can identify them.
That's funny. Yeah, but this may have been pre-Beyonce. This may have been Destiny Child.
No, you know what? Maybe. I don't know because I think we played single ladies at the wedding because I did the bouquet toss and Constance, Dario's sister.
2007.
She caught it. Yeah.
I don't know.
We might have to check. Can y'all somebody check and see when Single Ladies came out? Because I feel like that was like the song you played, and I feel like we played it. Gotcha. I could be wrong. I'm looking at the comments. Let me see if y'all come through.
Right.
Little sis, pull up. See.
Yeah. But that's my boy. That's my boy right there. And so just a few pictures of us, for as we were kind of celebrating and working through life and making sure that we took care of each other, took care of our family, our children. Aaron and Symphony at this time, Aaron had to be probably around 8 years old, maybe 7.
He was
probably
not
8.
7.
Maybe 8 years.
He was 4. Yeah, he was either 7 or about to be 8 because Symphony at our wedding, she hadn't even turned 5 yet.
Yeah, so he had to be 8 because it was July.
Yes.
His birthday's in March. But yeah.
Sure was. Y'all, our kids was at the wedding.
Yeah, they were at the wedding. Symphony was our beautiful flower girl.
Yep.
Aaron was our ring bearer.
And Zon was on his way.
Listen, coming through.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful, beautiful time. Definitely, how people always talk about, how tiring it is. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot that happened that day for us to get to that altar. With family coming into town, even though we had a wedding coordinator and our moms were helping doing what they how about I say doing what they want to do, but being moms and of course us trying to manage moments and thank God we
each other.
Yeah
so our wedding dance, we danced to Hey Ya by Outkast.
Yeah.
When I tell you,
man,
that is still our joint today.
We
cut up this man right here. Oh my gosh, had no business in them church shoes.
Listen,
on that dance floor. Because when I tell you the footwork was crazy.
You put me in some church shoes. If I got church shoes on the dance floor, I'm slipping and sliding.
Them shoes were made for shouting, and that's what he did. We had such a good time.
Yeah, it was great.
Our wedding was so much fun.
It really was.
And it ended up raining.
It really was, yeah. It did rain that day.
It ended up raining. Because we had some people that were like, I'm sorry we didn't make it. It started raining. And we were like, no, it's fine. You just owe us $49.95 for y'all play. But we had so much fun. We hardly missed who wasn't there. It was like we loved on everybody that was there. We danced, we ate, we ate good. We just had a ball.
Yeah.
The cake was delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, we just had a ball. And we didn't do any of that funny business, smashing cake. all over each other. We did like the little cute, I put a little bit on your nose, you put a little bit on my nose, and we're gonna eat this cake and be cool.
I wasn't about to do all
it
that.
It did get crazy.
Stuff.
No TikTok or Instagram worthy cake celebrating at our wedding, but we had a great time and we had a delicious cake. Here's a spoiler. I don't know if you've heard this before, but when it comes to saving your cake for a year and then having a slice of it on your first year anniversary, that cake was pretty terrible in a year. It was. And we're like, why are we eating expired cake? Every ingredient in this cake is expired. Why are we eating this?
I guess they say do it.
We heard it. We did it. So if you have a better cake story and you have tried this and did it, talk to the people in the comments, because we stand where we stand on this. Where that's concerned, that cake was not good.
Right.
We felt cheated. We were like, okay, this was a farce. Bad decision. Make better choices. We rethought that entire year.
For sure.
But it was still fun to celebrate. And that doesn't conclude our journey and story, because clearly we are still living it. And last week when we did the part 1, we were just kind of on the heels of celebrating 16 years married. So with over 2 decades together, we have now spent more years of our life together than we have without each other. And I think this is not a video about wedding or marriage advice, relationship advice. It's not that. This is our story, and everyone has a story. Everyone has a testimony. There are, some of the things that we overcame. Listen, we don't have time to give you 100%, but what we did give you was 100% real, right? And everything that we shared, there was no need to embellish, anything, because the truth is stranger than fiction. And if we had more time, we would probably go a little bit deeper.
There's definitely so many details and things that, but that's for other things that we will share, in due time as we see fit and as we work through. But go ahead. As you were saying, this is definitely something real that that's still real today. Like our relationship, there were some other pictures and things like that, just to keep it real. Some other pictures and things that we had set to even share with you all. But trying to make sure that we had a bit of a delay, hopping on. But I wanted to have something to share and show. But there are certain things that we'll share in context to be able to give context to the topics that we are looking forward to talking about. You know what I mean? When it comes to transitions, when it comes to, you mentioned a few times, how we were living in sin, right? Basically, we were, having sex before getting married.
And we're calling it what it is. Sin is sin.
Right.
It worked out now. And it's under the
had a whole baby.
And
before we got married, and so my parents are pastors, so you can imagine the level of accountability, that I was held to, but also both of us, because we were in relationship with each other, but also still going and connected to my family as we were growing, especially once I graduated. We stayed together and seeing that this thing was going to be for real, because look, I was going to stay and take care of my responsibilities, but I also loved Keturah, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like I didn't love her, and and she got pregnant and we made it work. It was all together, you know what I mean? Like, and so even though things happened out of order, it was still something that I still wanted a future and a life with her, you know what I mean? And so, of course, 20 years plus later, we're still together,
That's right.
We've worked through so many things, especially before we got married, because it was different. 17 years ago, you know what I mean? 16 years of marriage have been great and outstanding. Even before then, it was good. But at the same time, my priorities, I would say our priorities were different when it came to our spiritual standards, especially for me. You know what I mean? Because
me too.
I'm still a young man trying to figure things out. Going to school, knowing I wanted to marry her, but at the same time, you know, struggling with what I had or what I didn't have.
Right.
You know, temptations, misunderstandings.
Yeah. Just figuring out
the distance.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And those are more episodes we have.
Yeah.
Because there's a way that we navigated through those. Like, so here's the thing. It's not as important like the dramatic parts of it. We want to share that because we want to get to the parts that talk about how we navigated through it. And even once we were married, how did we reconcile some of the things from our relationship previously? Because we were together 7 years before we got married. It's almost like symbolic, like it is finished. We are done living like this. It's time to go into a new chapter. So we spent 7 years growing up pretty much together. We didn't get married until we were 23 and 24. And so there were some really big life lessons to learn. We grew separately. The blessing was that we didn't grow apart. And so God used even that. And as we began the journey of growing in Christ, not just together, but growing in Christ individually, there was more learning that came with that. And we needed the space to grow together while we were growing apart, even once we were married. So our prayers, our priorities, like Keegan said, all of those things began to shift. Like he says, I feel like I rededicated my life to Christ. And once we got married, I can attest to that. I feel like he became a totally different man. I can't say totally because I always thought he was a good man. I saw who he was even before we were married. And I knew what God was doing in his life. I saw a little bit of that, but it was nothing like being in covenant with God. And that's the difference between the contract and the covenant. And we're going to have an episode where we're talking about that because it's not the same.
Yeah.
Going together, we talking, situationships, all that is not the same. It's something totally different when you commit everything that you are doing, are engaged with, diving into to the Lord. And that's what we did. And when we did that and we completely surrendered ourselves and our will and our own personal desires, God changed some things for us, and he spoke to us in a different way that we had not heard him previously. We're grateful that we heard him when we did, as far as making the move to get married, but again, that is a part of another story and episode, and we have some great ones for you. We do believe that some of them will serve to maybe feel like advice, but more so than anything, they are to add value, because we know that the people listening, some of you are in relationships, you have great relationships, you're into a second relationship or second or third marriage. And so we're just talking about our journey. We don't claim to be experts. We just have a little bit of experience and are excited to share our story in these conversations. So tonight you were talking with the Bostons, and we have real candid, raw, transparent conversations about real things that matter to us. And so we're so grateful for those of you who showed up to hang out again tonight.
Thank y'all for watching. So we'll be back next week.
That's right.
Got some great stuff happening this week, doing our first youth conference over at the Potter's House, North Dallas, the Blue Flame Experience. Super excited about that. And so may be able to show y'all some footage and things like that next week for what we did this week. Because we have been in ministry with our children. Right. You know what I mean? As we've been raising and training them up, it's such a blessing to watch them now serve the Lord, using their gifts, gifts that they are truly passionate about. I'm, musically inclined, and when it comes to music, I love it. Right. That's a thing that I'm grateful for, but to see my children operate in their gifts, it's outstanding. So we'll have some footage and some pictures and things like that next week. But until then, we will see y'all next week. Please be sure to like and subscribe.
Please do.
So you can know what's happening with us and what's going down with the Bostons, we're talking about, so
listen, because we're talking.
That's right.
And we're glad to have y'all here, but we talking. We got some stuff to talk about.
That's right.
We got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
So we'll see you then.
Thank y'all for rocking with us. Thank y'all for tuning in. We love y'all, and we will see you next.